The night was unusually calm when the first anomaly appeared. Dr. Emma Rodriguez had been working late at the Advanced Space Observation Center in Cape Canaveral, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that tracked minute variations in deep space electromagnetic patterns. Most researchers would have missed the subtle shift, a microscopic disruption in quantum background radiation that most instruments would dismiss as statistical noise. But Emma was different. Her custom-built quantum interference detector, a device she had personally designed and calibrated over 3 sleepless years, caught something extraordinary. The readings began as a whisper, a barely perceptible tremor in the fabric of space-time that most scientists would have overlooked. But as the minutes passed, the whisper became a scream. "Director Williams," she called out, her voice cutting through the quiet of the late-night research facility. "We have an incoming spatial distortion that doesn't match any known astronomical event." Marcus Williams, a veteran of NASA's most challenging space exploration programs, approached her workstation. His weathered face, marked by decades of scientific pursuit, creased with concentration as he examined the rapidly changing data streams. "Those readings," he muttered, "they're not just non-standard. They're impossible." The quantum detector began to pulse with an intense blue light, its advanced sensors tracking a phenomenon that defied current scientific understanding. Space itself seemed to be folding, twisting in ways that violated everything humanity knew about dimensional physics. Outside the facility's reinforced windows, the first signs became visible. The night sky, usually a canvas of distant stars and familiar constellations, began to ripple. Not like a heat mirage or an atmospheric distortion, but as if reality itself was being stretched and compressed. Emma's fingers flew across the interface, initiating emergency protocols and sending encrypted signals to multiple global monitoring stations. Military communication networks, scientific research centers, and government intelligence agencies would be alerted simultaneously. "It's a dimensional breach," she whispered, more to herself than to Williams. "Something is coming through." The first ship appeared not with a dramatic explosion or a thunderous arrival, but with an almost elegant precision. One moment the sky was normal, the next a massive crystalline structure materialized, its surface reflecting starlight in impossible geometric patterns. It was neither solid nor completely translucent, existing in a state that human perception struggled to comprehend. Tracking systems across the globe lit up. Radar installations, satellite networks, and military observation posts simultaneously registered the unprecedented event. Within minutes, global defense systems transitioned from standard alert levels to maximum readiness. At the Pentagon, the Joint Chiefs of Staff convened an emergency session. In Beijing, the Central Military Commission began mobilizing defensive resources. Moscow, the first wave of attacks came without warning, a precision strike that targeted global communication and defense infrastructure with surgical accuracy. Energy beams unlike anything in human technological archives carved through major cities, transforming urban landscapes into smoking ruins within minutes. In Los Angeles, the downtown skyline disintegrated as crystalline weapons punched through skyscrapers with terrifying efficiency. Manhattan became a war zone of collapsing buildings and desperate evacuation efforts. Tokyo's advanced technological districts transformed into molten landscapes of twisted metal and shattered glass. Major General Catherine Rice stood in the underground command center beneath Colorado Springs, her dark eyes scanning multiple holographic displays showing the global assault. Communications were fragmenting, military networks were being systematically compromised, and conventional defense systems seemed utterly obsolete against the alien technology. "We're losing ground," her second-in-command, Colonel David Chen, reported. His voice was steady, but the tension was palpable. "Satellite networks are going dark. GPS is compromised. We're essentially blind." But humanity was far from defeated. In Silicon Valley, tech companies that had been competitors mere hours ago now worked in unprecedented collaboration. Software engineers from Google, Apple, and a dozen startup incubators transformed their offices into impromptu war rooms. They began hacking the alien communication frequencies, developing counter-intrusion algorithms faster than the invaders could adapt. A young programmer named Alex Rodriguez, no relation to Dr. Emma Rodriguez, discovered something extraordinary. The alien communication systems, for all their advanced technology, followed predictable quantum encryption patterns. By developing a novel approach that combined machine learning with quantum interference algorithms, he began to create a defensive network that could anticipate and counter the alien attacks. Military drone operators, many of whom had years of experience in video game-like combat simulations, became humanity's most unexpected heroes. They repurposed commercial and military drone technologies, creating swarm tactics that the alien forces had never encountered. Agricultural drones became reconnaissance units. Delivery drones transformed into makeshift weapon platforms. In the Mediterranean, the U.S. Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier became a mobile command center that redefined naval warfare. Its advanced systems, designed for network-centric warfare, now became the backbone of a global resistance. Admiral Rebecca Martinez coordinated a defense strategy that merged military precision with civilian technological innovation. "We're not just defending," she told her crew. "We're learning. Every attack gives us more information." The alien forces had expected a quick capitulation. They had conquered hundreds of civilizations across the galaxy, each following a predictable pattern of fear and submission. Humanity was supposed to be a primitive species, barely capable of unified global communication. They were wrong. In the first 48 hours of the invasion, something unprecedented happened. Instead of breaking down, human society began to transform. Social media became a real-time intelligence network. Every citizen with a smartphone became a potential sensor, sharing information about alien movements, weapon systems, and potential vulnerabilities. Universities around the world suspended normal operations. Research laboratories became frontline development centers. Theoretical physicists worked alongside military strategists. Computer scientists collaborated with aerospace engineers. The entire human knowledge base was being weaponized in real time. Dr. Emma Rodriguez, who had first detected the alien arrival, now worked in a makeshift research facility buried deep within the Rocky Mountains. Her quantum interference detector had evolved into something far more dangerous, a potential weapon that could unravel the very technological foundations of the alien invasion. "They think in linear patterns," she explained to General Reyes during a secure video conference. "Their technology is advanced, but ultimately rigid. We're chaos. We're unpredictability incarnate." As the first day of invasion drew to a close, the alien forces realized they were facing something entirely unexpected. Humanity was not just resisting. They were adapting, learning, transforming with a speed that defied all previous encounter models. The real war was just beginning. The alien command structure had conquered civilizations across the galaxy using a tried-and-true method of psychological subjugation. Break the communication networks, destroy central leadership, crush the spirit of resistance. Every previous civilization had followed a predictable pattern of fear and submission. Humanity was about to rewrite that playbook. Dr. Marcus Williams sat in the underground communication center, watching as something extraordinary unfolded. What the aliens perceived as a fragmented human society was actually becoming a living, breathing, adaptive organism of resistance. Social media transformed into the most unexpected weapon of war. A viral video from a street camera in Mumbai showed a group of teenagers using improvised electromagnetic pulse devices to disable alien ground units. Within hours, similar videos spread across global networks. Young people in Seoul were reprogramming delivery drones to drop electromagnetic disruptors. Students in Sao Paulo created open-source guides for building communication jamming equipment. The aliens' first major psychological attack came through a global broadcast. A chilling, modulated voice spoke in perfect translations across every language. Surrender is inevitable. Resistance will result in complete elimination. Your civilization is obsolete. What happened next was unprecedented. Instead of fear, the broadcast triggered a global wave of defiance. Internet meme creators turned the alien message into viral content. Comedians produced real-time comedy sketches mocking the invasion. Musicians began composing protest songs that spread faster than the alien communication networks could track. In the United States, a live streamer named Jack Harper turned invasion coverage into a globally watched event. His sardonic commentary and real-time analysis became a lifeline of information and morale. When alien forces destroyed his broadcasting studio, he simply continued streaming from a mobile unit, becoming a symbol of human resilience. Psychological warfare experts at the Pentagon discovered something remarkable. The alien communication systems operated on predictable emotional algorithms. They expected specific responses: fear, submission, despair. Humans were providing something entirely different: unpredictability, humor, collective creativity. Dr. Emma Rodriguez identified the critical breakthrough. Human communication was fundamentally different from any known galactic species. Where most civilizations communicated through hierarchical, linear information networks, humans operated on complex, overlapping, constantly shifting communication patterns. "They're trying to understand us using logic," she explained to General Catherine Reyes. "But we don't operate on pure logic. We're emotion, creativity, spontaneity, all mixed together." Global resistance took forms the aliens could never have predicted. Anonymous hacking collectives began infiltrating alien communication networks. Online gaming communities developed tactical simulation models faster than military think tanks. A distributed network of citizen scientists began analyzing captured alien technology in real time, sharing discoveries through encrypted channels. In Beijing, a group of university students hacked into alien communication frequencies and began broadcasting an endless loop of classic rock music. The Rolling Stones, Queen, and Led Zeppelin became weapons of psychological disruption. A research team in Berlin discovered that human brainwave patterns, considered chaotic and unstructured by alien analysis, could actually interfere with the invaders' computational systems. What seemed like a weakness became an unprecedented strength. The global response was not just a military effort, but a cultural revolution. Artists created installations that mapped alien movement patterns. Mathematicians developed quantum algorithms that could predict alien tactical decisions. Every sector of human society was transforming into a resistance mechanism. Social media platforms became intelligence networks. Gaming communities developed real-time tactical simulations. Scientific research transformed into weapon development. The line between civilian and military effort disappeared completely. General Reyes watched the emerging data with a mix of amazement and pride. The aliens had studied humanity for decades, believing they understood every potential response. They were wrong. Humanity was not a single entity to be conquered. It was a living, breathing, constantly adapting organism that thrived on challenge, creativity, and collective effort. The psychological war had begun, and humanity was just getting started. The first captured alien device arrived at the Advanced Research Complex in the Colorado Rocky Mountains through a series of unlikely events. A National Guard unit, ambushed during a reconnaissance mission, managed to disable and extract a small alien communication module before being evacuated. What looked like a piece of incomprehensible technology to most became a treasure trove of scientific discovery. Dr. Emma Rodriguez stood beside the crystalline device, her breath caught between excitement and scientific reverence. Surrounding her was a team that defied traditional scientific boundaries. Quantum physicists worked alongside materials engineers, computer scientists collaborated with neurotechnologists, and theoretical mathematicians shared workspace with practical inventors. "This isn't just technology," she muttered, running a specialized quantum scanner over the device. This is a different way of thinking about information itself. The device seemed to respond to her scan, its internal structures shifting in patterns that defied traditional understanding of matter and energy. Most research teams would have approached the technology with rigid methodologies. This team did something different. They treated the alien technology as a conversation partner rather than an object to be dissected. Dr. Alex Chen, a breakthrough engineer from MIT, discovered the first critical insight. The alien communication module operated on principles of quantum entanglement that human scientists had only theorized about. But where previous human research had been theoretical, the alien device demonstrated practical applications that seemed to bend the very laws of physics. Makeshift laboratories sprung up across the globe. Abandoned shopping malls became research centers. University campuses transformed into technological adaptation zones. What the aliens intended as a tool of conquest became humanity's greatest opportunity for technological leap. In a converted semiconductor factory in Taiwan, a team of engineers discovered how to modify the alien energy transmission systems. What previously required massive power sources could now be miniaturized to the size of a smartphone battery. The implications were staggering. Unlimited clean energy was no longer a dream, but an emerging reality. A young programmer named Maria Rodriguez, no relation to Emma, developed an AI translation matrix that could decode not just the alien language, but their entire communication philosophy. She realized the aliens communicated through complex quantum probability matrices, a method so different from human language that traditional translation was impossible. They don't just communicate, Maria explained during a global research briefing. They negotiate probability itself. The global scientific community worked with a level of collaboration unprecedented in human history. Research that would have taken decades was compressed into weeks. Patents were suspended. Open source became the new standard of technological development. Military research facilities worked alongside civilian innovation centers. A drone design from a teenager in Kenya could become a critical component in a defense system developed by the United States Space Force. A quantum computing breakthrough from a research team in India could solve an energy transmission problem discovered by European scientists. Dr. Emma Rodriguez's team made the most shocking discovery. The alien technology wasn't just advanced, it was fundamentally different in its approach to information and energy. Human technology was linear and hierarchical. The alien systems operated more like living organisms, with information flowing in multidimensional patterns. They don't build machines, she told General Catherine Reyes during a secure briefing. They grow them. Their technology is closer to biology than engineering. This insight changed everything. Human researchers began approaching the alien technology not as a set of components to be understood, but as a complex living system to be communicated with. Factories that once produced consumer electronics now manufactured hybrid technologies that merged human creativity with alien design principles. Semiconductor plants retooled overnight. 3D printing facilities began producing components that would have been considered science fiction mere weeks ago. The aliens had arrived expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, they had triggered humanity's most powerful survival mechanism: the ability to learn, adapt, and transform with frightening speed. What had begun as an invasion was becoming a technological renaissance, and humanity was just getting started. The United Nations headquarters in New York had never seen a moment like this. Delegates from 193 member states stood shoulder to shoulder, the usual political tensions dissolved by the gravity of humanity's shared threat. The emergency session was unlike any diplomatic gathering in human history. Secretary General Elena Rodriguez took the podium, her voice steady and resolute. We stand at the precipice of our species' greatest challenge. Our differences, which once seemed insurmountable, now mean nothing in the face of our common survival. The transformation was immediate and profound. Centuries of geopolitical rivalries evaporated in hours. China and the United States, long locked in technological and economic competition, now shared research facilities. Russian and Ukrainian scientists collaborated on defensive technologies with a unity that seemed impossible just months earlier. In the Pacific, a joint naval task force combined vessels from Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the United States. The fleet operated with a level of coordination that surpassed any previous multinational exercise. Each nation contributed its unique strengths: Japanese robotics, American naval technology, Australian strategic positioning, South Korean communication systems. India emerged as a critical hub of global resistance. Its robust software engineering ecosystem and massive technological infrastructure became the backbone of a global communication and defense network. Bangalore's tech companies transformed entire industrial parks into research and development centers focused on alien technology adaptation. Dr. Emma Rodrigues worked closely with an unprecedented global team. Brazilian computational experts sat alongside Nigerian quantum physicists. Canadian materials engineers collaborated with Indonesian communication specialists. The traditional hierarchies of academic and scientific research collapsed entirely. "We're no longer working for individual countries," she explained during a global research briefing. "We're working for the human species." Economic systems underwent a radical transformation. Global stock markets were suspended. Resources were redirected with unprecedented speed and efficiency. Manufacturing plants that once produced consumer goods now churned out defensive technologies and support equipment. Automobile factories became production centers for advanced drone technologies. Semiconductor plants accelerated their output of quantum computing components. The medical community showed similar levels of unprecedented cooperation. Hospitals in different continents shared real-time data about treating injuries from alien attacks. Researchers who would have previously competed for academic recognition now shared discoveries within hours of their breakthrough. General Catherine Rice coordinated a global defense strategy that redefined military cooperation. NATO expanded to include nations that were previously considered outside its traditional sphere. Military bases in previously contested regions became unified command centers. Soldiers from countries that had historical conflicts now trained together, shared intelligence, and developed joint tactical approaches. In the Middle East, long-standing territorial disputes were set aside. Israeli and Palestinian engineers worked side by side in research facilities. Iranian and Saudi Arabian scientists collaborated on communication disruption technologies. The existential threat had revealed a fundamental truth: humanity's survival depended on its ability to work together. Educational systems transformed overnight. Universities suspended traditional curriculum. Students became critical components of the global resistance. Online learning platforms created real-time courses on alien technology analysis. High school students developed communication encryption methods. College research teams became frontline technological development centers. Space agencies from around the world merged their resources. The International Space Station became a critical observation and research platform. European, American, Russian, Chinese, and Indian space technologies were combined into a unified defensive strategy. Cultural barriers dissolved. Language translation technologies improved at an exponential rate. A global communication network emerged that transcended traditional boundaries. What the aliens saw as a fractured species was transforming into a unified organism of resistance. "We are not just fighting for our individual countries," Secretary General Rodrigues declared in a global broadcast. "We are fighting for our species, for our future." The aliens had studied humanity for decades, believing they understood every potential response. They believed human division was a fundamental weakness. Instead, they had triggered humanity's most powerful survival mechanism: the ability to unite, adapt, and transform in the face of an existential threat. Humanity was no longer a collection of nations. It had become a single, unified force, and it was ready to fight back. The war room beneath the Rocky Mountain complex hummed with an electric intensity. Holographic displays tracked alien movement patterns, each projection a complex web of quantum-encrypted data points. General Catherine Rice stood at the center, surrounded by the most diverse strategic team in human history. "We're not just defending anymore," she announced. "We're going on the offensive." The first strike would be unlike any military operation in human history. Instead of conventional warfare, humanity had developed a multi-layered approach that combined technological innovation, psychological warfare, and unprecedented strategic thinking. Dr. Emma Rodriguez unveiled the primary strategy. Her team had discovered critical vulnerabilities in the alien communication network, not through brute force hacking, but by understanding the fundamental philosophy behind their information systems. "They communicate through probability matrices," she explained. "We're going to introduce controlled chaos into their system." Global hacking collectives, university research teams, and military cyber warfare units launched a synchronized attack. It wasn't about destroying alien systems, but about introducing unpredictability. Mathematical models designed by a team in Mumbai created quantum interference patterns that disrupted alien communication at its most fundamental level. In the Pacific, a fleet of modified commercial and military vessels began a guerrilla-style offensive. These were not traditional warships, but hybrid platforms that combined cutting-edge human technology with repurposed alien components. Drones launched from cargo ships. Satellite communication networks transformed into weapon platforms. Alex Chen, the breakthrough engineer from MIT, had developed a revolutionary weapon system. Using principles of quantum entanglement discovered in captured alien technology, human forces could now create localized communication black holes, zones where alien technology simply ceased to function. The first major strike targeted the alien supply line network. Instead of a direct confrontation, human strategists identified the most critical communication junctions. The attack was surgical, not about destruction, but about introducing maximum uncertainty. A team of programmers in Berlin created a virus that didn't destroy alien systems, but fundamentally altered their predictive algorithms. Where the aliens expected linear responses, they received complex, almost nonsensical communication patterns. It was psychological warfare at the quantum level. Space became the next critical battleground. The International Space Station, now transformed into a mobile research and attack platform, launched a series of precision strikes. Modified satellites became weapons platforms. Communication relays turned into jamming devices. General Reyes had developed a strategy that defied traditional military doctrine. "We're not trying to defeat them," she told her command team. "We're trying to make them question everything they know about warfare." In the Australian outback, a research facility had developed energy weapons that operated on principles the aliens couldn't comprehend. These weren't just technological innovations, they were fundamental reimaginings of energy transmission and manipulation. The counteroffensive revealed humanity's most powerful weapon: adaptability. Where alien forces expected predictable military responses, they encountered something entirely different. A drone swarm controlled by a distributed network of gamers, communication systems that changed their fundamental operating principles every millisecond. Weapon platforms that were simultaneously offensive and defensive, mechanical and organic. Dr. Rodriguez's most shocking discovery came during a late-night analysis session. The alien technology, for all its advanced capabilities, was fundamentally rigid. It operated on set parameters, with limited capacity for true improvisation. Humanity, by contrast, thrived on uncertainty. They'd conquered hundreds of civilizations, she told General Reyes, but they've never encountered a species like us. The global resistance had transformed warfare itself. Military personnel worked alongside artists. Mathematicians collaborated with musicians. Software engineers developed strategies with cultural anthropologists. Every human became a potential weapon system. Captured alien communication logs revealed their growing confusion. The invasion force had expected a quick, systematic conquest. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that didn't play by any known rules of engagement. As the counteroffensive gained momentum, something extraordinary happened. The aliens began to retreat from certain global sectors, unable to predict or counter human responses. Humanity was no longer just surviving. It was fighting back. And the universe was about to learn a critical lesson about the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The discovery came in the most unexpected moment of scientific collaboration. Dr. Emma Rodriguez stood in the makeshift laboratory deep within the Rocky Mountain complex, surrounded by a team that represented the most diverse group of researchers humanity had ever assembled. Dr. Marcus Williams, a veteran geneticist, was the first to identify the critical breakthrough. The alien biological infrastructure, for all its advanced technological integration, had a fundamental weakness that no previous civilization had discovered. It's in their genetic communication network, he explained, pointing to a complex holographic model of alien cellular structures. They've optimized their biological systems for efficiency, but that optimization creates a critical vulnerability. The alien species had evolved a hyper-efficient biological system that allowed instantaneous communication between individual organisms. This network was their greatest strength and would become their ultimate weakness. Dr. Rodriguez had been analyzing captured alien biological samples for weeks. What seemed like random genetic sequences to most researchers revealed a complex pattern to her quantum-enhanced analysis tools. The aliens' genetic communication relied on a precise quantum entanglement mechanism that maintained their collective consciousness. They're not just a species, she realized. They're more like a single, massive organism with distributed intelligence. The research team developed a targeted nanoviral weapon that didn't destroy the alien systems, but fundamentally disrupted their genetic communication network. It was a precision instrument of biological warfare that would make traditional weapons look crude by comparison. General Catherine Reyes oversaw the most complex military operation in human history. The plan was audacious, a synchronized global strike that would target the aliens' critical communication junctions. Every military force, every research facility, every technological resource would be coordinated with mathematical precision. In orbit, modified space platforms prepared to deliver the nanoviral payload. Submarines positioned themselves in strategic oceanic locations. Specialized drone networks stood ready to distribute the viral agents across multiple continents. The aliens had no concept of the attack that was coming. Their invasion force had been so confident in their technological superiority that they had overlooked the most fundamental aspect of human nature: the ability to find creative solutions under extreme pressure. The first signs of the viral attack were subtle. Alien communication networks began to experience microscopic disruptions. Individual units started to lose synchronization with the collective consciousness. What had been a perfectly coordinated invasion force began to fragment. Dr. Williams explained it in simple terms. We're introducing entropy into their perfect system. Chaos is our greatest weapon. Global communication networks tracked the progression of the viral attack. What had begun as a targeted biological intervention began to spread through the alien collective like a quantum wildfire. Their hyper-efficient communication network became their greatest vulnerability. Alien ships in orbit began to show signs of desynchronization. Complex technological systems that had operated with perfect synchronization now began to fail in cascading sequences. Individual units lost connection with the central consciousness. The breaking point came faster than anyone had anticipated. Massive alien vessels, once symbols of technological superiority, began to drift. Communication networks collapsed. The collective consciousness that had conquered hundreds of civilizations began to fragment. They never understood individual consciousness, Dr. Rodriguez observed. Their strength was also their greatest weakness. Human resistance forces, which had been preparing for a prolonged conflict, found themselves facing something entirely unexpected. The alien invasion was collapsing from within, undone by the very system that had made them seemingly invincible. General Reyes watched the holographic displays with a mixture of scientific fascination and strategic calculation. The alien invasion force was not just being defeated, it was being systematically dismantled at its most fundamental level. The final blow came not from a massive weapon, but from the collective human effort to understand, adapt, and overcome. Every researcher, every soldier, every citizen had contributed to this moment. As alien ships began to drift and communication networks collapsed, humanity realized something profound. This was more than a victory in a conventional sense. This was a fundamental reimagining of what it meant to survive, to adapt, to overcome. The universe was about to learn a critical lesson about the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The silence was profound. Where massive alien vessels had once dominated the sky, now only scattered debris remained. The United Nations Assembly Hall in New York looked more like a scientific conference than a diplomatic gathering. Researchers, military leaders, and political representatives from every corner of the globe sat together, processing the magnitude of what had just occurred. Dr. Emma Rodriguez stood at the podium, her presentation revealing the full extent of humanity's transformation. The alien invasion had been more than a conflict. It was a catalyst that would reshape human civilization forever. "We are not the same species we were before," she explained, holographic displays showing the technological and social innovations born from the conflict. "The invasion forced us to reimagine everything we thought we knew about ourselves. The technological leap was unprecedented. Captured alien systems had provided humanity with advances that would have taken centuries to develop independently. Energy transmission technologies that could provide clean, unlimited power to every corner of the planet. Communication systems that operated on quantum principles previously thought impossible. Medical technologies that could reshape human understanding of biology and healing." General Catherine Rice presented the military analysis. The global defense network that had been hastily assembled during the invasion would become a permanent international cooperative system. Traditional military boundaries had dissolved, replaced by a unified global defense strategy that transcended national interests. In the months following the invasion, human society underwent a radical transformation. Universities restructured their entire approach to education. Interdisciplinary research became the new standard. A student might simultaneously study quantum physics, cultural anthropology, and advanced communication technologies. The global economy was reimagined. Resources that were once dedicated to competitive national interests were now channeled into collective human advancement. Space exploration programs from different countries merged into a unified human space initiative. The first truly global space station was already under construction, combining technologies and expertise from every continent. Dr. Marcus Williams, leading a new international research initiative, explained the most profound change. "We've discovered that our greatest strength is not our technology, but our ability to adapt, to collaborate, to imagine possibilities that no single system could conceive." Technological innovations emerged from unexpected places. A group of high school students in Kenya developed a communication system based on the lessons learned from alien invasion. Researchers in Brazil created medical technologies that merged human biology with principles discovered in alien genetic systems. The psychological impact was equally transformative. Humanity had faced an existential threat, and not only survived but thrived. A new sense of global unity emerged. Cultural differences that once seemed insurmountable now appeared trivial in the face of what humanity had achieved together. Space exploration accelerated exponentially. The technologies captured from the alien invasion provided humanity with a quantum leap in understanding interstellar travel. What was once the realm of science fiction became an achievable goal. Research facilities around the world began developing the first faster-than-light communication and travel systems. Dr. Rodriguez's team made a shocking discovery. The alien invasion was not an isolated incident. The captured communication logs suggested that humanity was now on the radar of multiple galactic civilizations. Some would see them as a potential threat. Others might view them as potential allies. "We are no longer just inhabitants of Earth," she told the assembled researchers and political leaders. "We are now a recognized force in the galactic community." The United Nations established a new global initiative. The Interstellar Preparedness and Exploration Committee would coordinate humanity's approach to potential future encounters. It was no longer about defense, but about proactive engagement with the broader galactic civilization. Educational systems were completely restructured. Schools now taught not just historical knowledge, but adaptive thinking, collaborative problem-solving, and interdisciplinary approaches to understanding complex systems. General Rice reflected on the transformation. The military had become more than a defensive force. It was now a critical component of human innovation and exploration. Soldiers were as likely to be researchers and diplomats as they were to be traditional warriors. The remnants of alien technology became the foundation of a new human renaissance. Research facilities around the world worked to understand and adapt these systems. What the aliens had intended as a tool of conquest became the key to humanity's greatest leap forward. As the first anniversary of the invasion approached, humanity looked to the stars with a new perspective. They were no longer a species waiting to be discovered. They were explorers, innovators, a civilization that had faced an impossible challenge and emerged stronger. The universe had underestimated humans, and now, the galaxy would learn the true meaning of human potential.